Hey, so today's video is geared towards the parents. I have had several people reach out to me and ask me for tips and suggestions on how to manage their kids' behavior and how to help them get their work done at home. It's a big job we're asking you to do. And I recognize, and so does our school district, that it's very hard to be a parent and a teacher at the same time. So we're just asking you to do your best. And if learning doesn't happen on certain days, it's okay. And just keep telling yourself that it's okay. We're all in this together. So I have a couple things that I'd like to show you. And I got them on a website. And I'm happy to share anything that you see today that could be helpful to you. So just shoot me an email at my school address, abarnard@breweredu.org, and I'm happy to send you copies or create any of these things that might help you at home with your learner. So to start, I just want to show you two different very easy, simple charts. You can have kids work to fill up the whole chart or just parts of the chart. Set a goal. I would say for younger kids, you're going to want to make rewards quick to keep them motivated, and you want to make them realistic. I would start out easy and then I would work my way up so that they can feel successful. But these are two simple charts. You could just draw it on a piece of paper. You could give a sticker or an X for every piece of work or every time they say a kind word. If there's something that you want them to do, just set that as the goal, and every time it happens, they get to fill in the box. Okay. So here is a learning log that I created at home for my kids. And it has all the different options for remote learning on the side. And to give them some control, because we all know that kids need control, I asked them to pick any three that they want. And at the end of the week, if they get it done, and I have to initial that it got completed, or their dad, they get a special treat at the end of the week. So it could be a soda, it could be a candy bar. But daily, I require that they get their work done before they get electronics. So that's the daily reward, and then I have a long-term goal too. You want to make sure that whatever you're using as a reinforcer, they only get if they did their work. Otherwise, they're going to know that they're going to get it at other times. Okay, this chart here is just a simpler version of the one that I showed you. It doesn't have as many options. Read for 20 minutes, writing, math, pick a chore, and getting outside. So I included all of those areas. You'll see that there are 25 boxes, but the goal that I set for, was 20 out of 25. You want your kids to be able to meet the goal that you set for them. So starting out lower or smaller and then getting bigger gradually would be what I recommend to you. 20 might even be too big of a goal. So you might go down to 15 or 10, and maybe every week you add 5 on. But again, you're going to want to make your child successful so they buy into whatever it is you're asking them to do. A couple of things that you could do that might make work easy is allowing them to have some outside time before you're asking them to sit down. A lot of our kids are really busy and they need to move their bodies. And so getting them to do a physical activity is going to help them sit when you want them to work. When you're asking them to write, giving them Play-Doh to do, or if you have some kind of putty or even slime to warm their hands up, that's very helpful too. And those are things that they're used to doing at school. So that would be a familiar task. Here's another chart. You could put the different subjects on the side. You can have the kids rate themselves, and then you could rate them in the comments, or you could just rate them. I like getting the kids' feedback because it gives them a chance to self-monitor and reflect on, how well they're doing. Again, you would set the number of points for the goal that they needed to reach. and then you can slowly increase it. Here is another chart. This one is for waiting patiently. You could change it to make it whatever you wanted. They could X out the stars, they could color them in, they could cross them out. This could be if they complete a successful work time, or maybe if it's going to bed when they're supposed to. It could be anything, but it's a nice visual. This one was one of my favorites that I found. I like it because it just has 4, and really that's the number that we recommend if you are trying to put something into a chart for kids so it's not too overwhelming. So it has the full week, and I like the idea of doing some work and then putting in maybe like a chore or outside activity, or doing reading, writing, math, and then doing art. Just so that they have an opportunity to do something that they really like, and make them buy in. Having the kids buy in is the number one key to these plans. If they don't buy in, they're not going to do it. If they know your threats are empty, they're not going to do it. So one of the things that I recommend is to mean what you say and say what you mean. If they know that you're not going to follow through, they're not going to do it. And I know that it's really hard. At home, my kids tell me I'm the strictest mom ever, but it's boundaries, and they need those. And so electronics in my house are really motivating, and so they have to do their work and their chores typically before they get their work done. Not before they get their work done. They have to get their work done before they get the electronics. So we're trying to set that routine in place for them. And if they do get their work done, then, I give them extra time, or you could give them bonus time, or, whatever it is that they want to work for. But I would have them pick it so that they feel like they have control. Just make sure that they're not getting it any other time, because it won't be as motivating. A couple other little charts that I found. These were for chores, but you could cross off chores and you could do academics, or you could keep it with chores, just a very simple chart. I liked this one. You could do it multiple ways. You can put different chores on the line, but you can do it for everybody in your family. So everybody can see what everyone's doing. So you don't have to hear that it's not fair, bomb that the kids like to drop. They can see that everybody has a job. And you can also probably do this for, academics too. This one was really cool. This is a dice. You cut it out and you fold on the little flaps, and then you tape it together and you roll. And whatever you land on is the chore you have for the day, or you could make it for that week. And there were several versions of these that had different activities on them. So you could check it out and print the one that works for you. Okay, a little cheat sheet here. Whenever you're working, try to keep in mind that it's really not reasonable to expect kids to change maybe some unexpected behaviors that they're engaging in right now. It's important to remember that their world has been just turned upside down, and we don't want them to feel punished by any means for having some really big feelings about not being in school. So I know it's easier said than done, but just try to be patient with your child and with yourself, because we're all doing the best that we can right now, and that's all anybody can do. So all right, here's another chart. This is obviously laminated, but if you don't have lamination, you could, write a word or draw a picture, or if you have access to a printer, print it out. You can tape it. So this is called a first then next board. And a lot of kids like this because they see that they have 2 work tasks and then they get a break. So this could be, read for 20 minutes, do a math paper, and then you get a half an hour. It's whatever you and your child agree upon. I encourage you to use a timer. The kids are very used to using visual timers, and they like to see the time disappear. It lets them know that there is end in sight. which when you're doing a non-preferred activity for all of us is really, really helpful. So, all right, I have a cheat sheet here, some things I wrote down, so just let me check. All right, well, I think I shared everything that you can do at home. You can have your kids sit on exercise balls. You can have them stand when they're doing work. They also recommend laying on their belly and doing work that way. It helps them use their muscles differently so they're able to sit. You can use a weighted blanket, or if you don't have one of those, you could just put on any blanket. Medicine balls work really well, tossing those before a sit-down activity. And if you don't have a medicine ball, but you have, some weights that weren't too big, you could have the kids use those. So the kids are also used to working gum. That was a lifesaver at school. The kids would do anything if they could chew gum while they worked. So that's another strategy that you can do. So hang in there. Please remember that you're not alone. We are very much missing your kids, and we all recognize that it's very hard to be a parent and a teacher. There are some days that I don't do any learning with my kids. I have 2 very busy boys, and sometimes they just need to move and be outside. And so I'm taking that pressure off myself. I'm meeting them where they're at. I'm giving them what they need. And that's all I can do. So be kind to yourself. And remember that we're here. You can reach out through email at any time. I'm happy to FaceTime or video chat any of the kids if they want to show me their work when it's done, because they know how proud I am of them. Anything that will help. So if you have more specific questions, shoot me an email. I hope this helps a little bit. And just hang in there, everybody. Take care.